Assalamu alaikum and good morning, all of my students who are in this class. I hope that you all are well and fine and doing good. Welcome back to the class of Social Studies. This is Ms. Zunaira, your Social Studies teacher, and this is your lecture number 20. As you all know that we had completed our midterm syllabus, so we are going to have review classes, right? So this is going to be the last review class for the midterm, okay? So let's get started. The chapter which we are going to learn today, or the chapter which we are going to relearn today, is Natural Resources of South Asia. Okay, this is your chapter number 5, and it is on page number 44 of your social studies book, right? Here are some of the things which we are going to learn from this chapter. Okay, actually we have learned this chapter in detail, but now we are going to have a quick review of all of the topics from this chapter, right? So main topics of this chapter are forest. Iman, beta, switch off your camera. Switch off your camera, Iman. The main topics are forest, water resources, which we call as irrigation as well, agriculture, livestock, poultry and fisheries, wildlife, and minerals. These are the topics or the bullets of your chapter, which we are going to learn one by one. Okay, so let's start from the forest. What is a forest? A forest is an area of land dominated by trees. Whenever we hear the word forest, something comes in our mind that should usually be trees. It means when we hear the word forest, something appears in our mind that there is greenery. Okay, so it is a land that is dominated by trees. Hundreds of definitions of forest are used throughout the world, incorporating factors such as trees, density, tree height, land use, legal standing, and ecological functions. What we have to remember here that forests are the things that usually means the land where trees are grown, right? Now, in this chapter, as we are going to talk about natural resources of South Asia, so we'll learn about the forests which are natural, because sometimes forests can be cultivated by human being as well. Okay, so let's get started. According to our book, there are 4 types of forest in South Asia. How many types of forest are there in South Asia? There are 4 types of forest in South Asia, and here are the names of these forests in front of you. Number 1, mountainous forest. Number 2, submountainous forest. And number 3, riverine forest. And the last is tidal forest. As I told you in the class as well, that if we ponder these words, if we pay attention to these words, the definition would definitely be cleared. How? Because mountainous forest is a word that is showing some word like mountain. Submountainous is a word that is showing something like submountains. Now, what does it mean by submountains? We will talk about. Riverine, we can see a word here that is river. Tidal forest, we can relate this word to the tides. Okay, tides are there in sea and oceans. So let's get started with uh, type number 1, which is mountainous forest. So what are the mountainous forest? Mountainous forests are the forests which are grown on higher mountains. Okay, so we have to remember this thing, that the forest which are grown on higher mountains. And here are the names or the examples of trees which are grown over there. And it consists of fir, deodar, pine. What are these? These are the names of the trees, okay? And these are grown on mountainous forest. It means they are grown on higher mountains. Leaves of these trees are needle-shaped, okay, found on Himalayas as well as in South Asia. Okay, we are having many of the examples. Now here comes the second type of forest, which is submountainous forest. Submountainous forests are found on lower mountains and valleys. Okay, we can compare it with mountains by just see the word sub we use for the lower things. For example, if we have a heading, then there would be subheading, right? So subheading would be smaller than the main heading. Likewise, mountainous forests are those forests which are grown on higher mountains. Submountainous forests are those forests which are found on lower mountains or valleys. They are consisting of oak, walnut, blackberry. These are the names of the trees which are grown over there. Okay, and these trees are having their leaves like broad leaf trees. They are the broad leaves trees. If you see the leaf of oak, walnut, and blackberry, that would not be needle shaped like mountainous. That those would be broad leaf, right? Wood of oak and walnut is useful for furniture, mostly found on plains of Indus and Ganges. Okay. Now the third one is riverine forest. As I told you that riverine is the word that indicates river. So riverine forests are those forests which are grown in plains, usually on the banks of river. Usually on the banks of river. It means near the river or the edges of a river they are grown. They are consisting of many of the trees from which we have here two of the examples, which are shisham and acacia. Shisham and acacia, which is also called as kikar or babul, okay, they are grown on riverine forests. They are found on plains of South Asia around rivers. Now here comes the last type. The last type of the forest of South Asia, which is tidal forest. Tidal forests are the forests which are found in coastal regions, especially on deltoid areas. Iman, switch off your camera. Okay, they are especially grown on deltoid area. I told you in the class that what are the deltoid areas? The area where a river falls into sea. The area where river falls into sea. That is called as deltoid area. Okay, and tidal forests are usually grown on deltoid area. They consist of mangroves. Mangroves is the best example for the tidal forest. I told you one of the important speciality of mangroves that they require both of the water. They need fresh water plus salty water, it means sea water. They require both of the water to grow, right? Their growth requires both of the water, seawater plus fresh water. That is why we can say that mangroves can be grown on deltoid area, because deltoid areas are the areas where river water is there and sea water is there. Why? Because this is the area where river falls into sea. They are found on coastal of Sindh near Karachi and Sundarban on the coast of Bangladesh. Forests are playing a great role in the natural resources, not in the South Asia, but throughout the world. So here we are about to see some of the importance of forest. They provide the natural cover to fertile soil. They absorb carbon dioxide. Why? Because there are trees in the forest, and we know that what does tree do? Tree absorbs carbon dioxide. So if there would be more number of the trees, so there would be more and more consumption of carbon dioxide would be there, right? Apart from this, forests are the home to countless animals. It means many of the animals are there that are living in forest. They cannot grow in a, they are not domesticated, right? They need a home, which is forest. From forest we get wood, herbs, and shrubs. Now the next part from this chapter is, or the next bullet from this chapter is irrigation. That usually means carrying water to fields. Okay, carrying water to fields is irrigation. Okay, now here we are going to see water resources. We use fresh water, and the water in streams, ponds, and rivers, almost all water except seawater is called fresh water. Okay, except seas and oceans. All are these water bodies are having fresh water, and we use fresh water for all the purposes. Now here comes irrigation in India and Pakistan. Highly developed canal system for irrigation developed by British. Okay, if we talk about India and Pakistan, they are having developed canal system which was developed by British. Many dams have been added since 1947, including Mangla and Tarbela in Pakistan, Firozpur and Farakha in India. Okay, so these are the names of dams which have been added since 1947. Then afterwards they were built furthermore, and here comes another point. Other means of irrigation are tube wells, ponds, curries. Okay, apart from dams and canal system, there are other means of irrigation that include tube well, ponds, curries. What is curries? Curries means underground water channels. Now here comes irrigation in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. They receive heavy rainfall, right? They receive heavy rainfall, so that is why they are not having any problem. They are not facing any of the problem for water, right? On the other hand, controlling floods can be a big issue which can be overcome by raising embankments along with rivers. Okay, if they receive heavy rainfall, so there is a chance of the flood as well, right? So they are facing this one issue. They do not have any scarcity of water because they receive heavy rainfall, due to which their irrigation system is good. But sometimes there is a chance or there is an issue of flood. Afterwards, agriculture. South Asia, except Maldives, relies on agriculture because land is fertile and river provides abundant water. Okay, because land is fertile, that means land is unable to grow any of the plants. Okay, and river provides abundant water. These two are the main things which are required for agriculture. What is agriculture? Agriculture means growing crops. Okay, so as we are talking about South Asia, so in natural resources of South Asia, we need to see the agriculture system in South Asia. So most of the countries of South Asia rely on agriculture except Maldives. Before we talk about the agriculture in India, Pakistan, and other countries of South Asia, let's discuss the types of crops. What does agriculture mean? Agriculture means growing crops and trees, right? So we need to see that how many types of crops are there. So there are two basic types of crops, which are food crops and cash crops. We can have examples of wheat and rice in food crops because wheat and rice can be consumed as food. Other than wheat and rice, we can include sugar cane and fruits and vegetable, right? And maize, millet, many of the things are there. But if we talk about cash crops are the crops which can enhance our economy, like cotton and jute. Cotton and jute can never be food crops because we cannot consume them as a food, but we use it. We use it for textile industries and different purposes. We can sell it out to other countries. Okay, so this is known as cash crop. Now, here comes main crops of South Asia. Rice that requires a lot of water, wheat, pulses, millet, maize, sugarcane, tea, oil seeds, jute, and many more. Right here in front of you, there are some common or main crops of South Asia. Right? You can see that rice and jute are the crops which require a lot of water to grow. Okay, different crops are having different kind of nature, and some of the crops require a lot of water, some of the mangroves require sea water. Okay, so there is difference in the requirement of different crops. Now here is a map of South Asia in front of you. So you can see that in Pakistan, rice and tobacco is grown. In India, rice, jute, tea, and tobacco are grown. In Bangladesh, rice, jute, and tea. In Sri Lanka, rice, vegetable, oil seeds. In Maldives, rice, coconut, banana, and different fruits and vegetables. In Bhutan, rice. And Nepal, rice. One thing you can observe here is that rice is mainly grown throughout the South Asia. Every country grows rice, right? And tobacco is grown in India and Pakistan mainly. Likewise, oil seeds are mainly grown in Sri Lanka. Jute and tea is grown in Bangladesh. Jute and tea is also grown in India. Okay. Now here comes methods of irrigation. Growing crops require 4 steps or processes, and these are preparing the land, sowing the seeds, looking after the crops, and harvesting. This is the first step. This is the last step. Harvesting means cutting the crops, right? Now here are some of the problems in agriculture. Loss of land, scarcity of water, and poverty. We're going to discuss them one by one. Loss of land is the term typically used to refer to a conversion of coastal land to open water by natural processes and human activities. It means land can be lost by many of the reasons, including human activities. Okay, we need a proper kind of land for growing crops. So sometimes land can be lost due to some activities, or if it is not treated well, so it can be lost. Now here comes another problem, which is scarcity of water. Simply, scarcity of water means the deficiency of water or insufficient water, right? So water scarcity can mean scarcity in availability due to physical shortage, or scarcity in access due to the failure of institutions to ensure a regular supply, or due to a lack of adequate infrastructures. Water scarcity already affects every continent. Simply, it means the scarcity of water means deficiency of water, and we know that water plays a very basic role in growing crops, right? So if there is less water, so agriculture can be affected by it. Now here comes poverty. Poverty means, we know that it means gurbat. In Urdu we can call it as gurbat, right? So many of the problems can be solved by money, but most of the countries of South Asia are not even rich, okay? They are facing another problem, which is poverty. So they cannot not solve many of their problems. Now the next thing is livestock. What is livestock? Livestock means sheep, goat, cows, buffaloes, camels, etc. usually kept on a farm. Okay. Here are the things which we can get from these livestock. Milk we can get from the animals, meat, wool. Hide is a word that we are using for their skin. Right? We use their skin for many of the purposes. Now here you can see some of the livestock. These are mainly the farm animals, and we can get many of the benefits from them, right? We can get their milk, their meat, their hide we can use. What is hide? Hide is their skin, right? And yes. Afterwards, there is poultry. Poultry means keeping and reproducing chicken in great quantities for their eggs and meat. What kind of benefits we get from chicken? We eat their eggs and meat. It is a large source of income in South Asia. A modern technique resulted in popularity of shower chicken, which is white chicken, introduced in 20th century. Now here comes fisheries. What is fisheries? Fisheries is the process of getting the fish, purchasing the fish, catching the fish. All these processes are included in a single terminology, which is fisheries. It is major occupation in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. Fish and rice are staple food of most people in that century. In Pakistan, fisheries have suffered from lack of development. Dams have restricted the movement of fish in the river, while population in sea is suffering from pollution. The next topic is wildlife. Okay, beta, we are having a quick review. Okay, don't get confused because this is your revision and we have to cover a whole chapter. So that is why I am not going to detail of any of the topic. Okay, so if you get any of the questions, so you can ask me on Google Classroom as well if you have any of the problem. So let's continue. Wildlife, which is the next topic. The animals that cannot live with human beings, usually wild animals. In old days, people used to hunt them for meat and skin and sometimes for fun, and it was a mistake. Why it was a mistake? Because all living creatures are having the right to share this planet. Switch off the camera, Isa. Medicines can be made from them. Most famous wildlife of South Asia includes snow, ibex, snow leopard, blue buck. You have to remember these names. Okay. What are minerals? Minerals are solid substances that are present in nature and can be made of one element or more elements combined together, like chemical compounds. Gold, silver, and carbon are elements that form minerals on their own. Okay, let's make it simple. Minerals means useful substances that are found under the ground. Useful substances that are found underground, right? Where are minerals found? Minerals are found in nature underground. Minerals are not made. Some minerals are found in ore. What is ore? Ore is a stone that contains useful minerals. Okay? For example, diamond is a mineral. Sarah, switch off your camera, bete. Ore is a kind of stone. For example, diamond, we know that diamond is a mineral that is useful for us. Okay, so diamond is not present in its original form. Okay, when we get it out from underground, we have to mine it, we have to wash it, we have to make its proper shape. So very firstly, the minerals are found in the form of ore. It means stone that contains useful substance. Then we shape it according to our need. Useful substances found underground are generally called minerals. Gold, silver, precious. These can be metals. Okay. Useful substance can be a metal like gold and silver. These can be precious stones like diamond. Or other than diamond, there are many of the examples, like you must have heard a word firoza that we use in our jewelry. That is also a kind of stone. Marjan, marut, these all are the names. And these names of stones, these are precious stones. We use it for our jewelry. Okay. It can be any building material like marble. Okay. It can be any salt. Okay. Edible means the salt that we use in our food. It can be any fossil fuel as well. Coal, oil, and petroleum uh, usually found in plateau areas in South Asia. Okay, we know that fossil fuel means coal, oil, and petroleum. Petroleum and natural gas. Okay, oil and petroleum both are same. Another word is there which is natural gas, which we call as methane gas as well. Okay. There are different processes or methods for mining. What is mining? We know that where the minerals are found under the ground. Okay, now we need to get them out of the ground. Okay, getting them out of the ground or from the ground is called mining. It is called mining. So there are different of the methods which are introduced to get the minerals out of the ground, and these are digging, underground mining, drilling, and dredging. Right? Digging, underground mining, drilling, and dredging. So let's start from the one. Okay. What is digging? We know that digging simply means to dig the ground or the land or the surface of the land, right? So, digging is the very simplest and oldest method of mining. What happens in it? Simply, it it means to dig the ground without any of the machine. Okay, the minerals are taken away from the ground by simple digging of the ground, right? Underground mining is a word that is showing something. It means that people have to go under the ground for getting the minerals out. Okay? To take the minerals out of the ground, people go down to the ground and they collect the minerals, right? Drilling. Drilling is a word in which the land is drilled. Okay? The land is drilled, and what happens in it? There are many of the minerals which are liquid as well, like petroleum and oil, right? We think that we think that minerals are just solid. It's not so. Minerals can be liquid as well, minerals can be gas as well, because mineral is anything that is useful and found under the ground, right? So drilling is a process that is usually done to get the liquid mineral out of the ground. What is the liquid mineral? That can be petroleum and oil, right? We can get them out of the ground. What happens in it? The pump like structures or the drill machines like structure machines are used. Okay, a lot of effort is put, and the liquid minerals are taken out from the ground. Dredging is same, but it is done in sea. Okay, dredging is also known as offshore mining. Okay, mining means to get the minerals out of the ground. So, especially in underground mining, because in digging nobody goes down. Okay, and drilling and dredging, these are also the processes which are done with the help of machines. Normally, underground mining, including all, we will take the examples of all, but mainly the underground mining is very, you can say that it is very harmful or risky. Why? Because there is very little oxygen under the ground. There are poisonous gases. Mine. What is mine? Mine is the area which is dug to go in. Okay? That area where people have to go down to take out the minerals, right? So mine may collapse. Mine may collapse. There can be the blast. It is therefore important to take proper measures to ensure the safety of the miners. So, what happens? There are some of the safety issues in mining, and we need to see that. So, what happens? The people or the engineers that who go down for the mining, they are provided with proper measures. Okay, they use air muffins to protect their hearing, plus they take the cylinders for oxygen. Okay, so all these safety measures or precautions are very important for the people who are involved in mining. So this was all about your chapter. One more thing, that on page number 50, in the side portion of your book, environment environment impact assessment. Environment Impact Assessment, that is EIA. It's an abbreviation that stands for Environment Impact Assessment. What is it? This is the name of organization which are working to protect natural resources, not of the South Asia but throughout the world. Okay, as we had discussed that wildlife is also in danger. Okay, many of the animals are going to be extinct. So for their protection and for the protection of different natural resources, organizations are made, and these are collectively called as environment impact assessment. So beta, this was all about your chapter, Natural Resources of South Asia. Now we are going to have a feedback. So, are you ready for the feedback?